We are live, we are live, we are live. And if you can hear me, please drop a note in our Q&A box to make sure that we are on today. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Digital Dealer's James Hickey, and I'm incredibly excited to be introducing and listening in on today's session, sponsored by NetSol Technologies, titled Reimagining the Dealership Experience with AI and Omnichannel Retail. We are joined today by NetSol's Adam Bruttell and Eva Kellershof to explore how innovative dealerships are leveraging AI and omnichannel strategies to redefine their operations, from lead generation through F&I, to deliver a cohesive retail experience that enhances efficiency, fosters customer trust, and accelerates profitability. For those who may be new to Digital Dealer, welcome. Digital Dealer is an online media company publishing daily news, a weekly email newsletter, insights from industry experts like Adam and Eva, who will be speaking today, and a rich menu of additional resources, including webinars like this one. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to our weekly newsletter by signing up at our recently redesigned Digital Dealer website. And during and after today's session, please follow along and share your thoughts and feedback on our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn social media channels. All of our links and handles are on your screen right now. I want to take this time to mention that the Digital Dealer Conference and Expo next year is on the move, set to take place in Detroit, Michigan, September 22nd and 23rd at Huntington Place. Detroit is not just a motor city, it is the center of automotive innovation and the future of the industry. By bringing the event to a modern venue built for learning, demos, and deal making, we're creating an experience that delivers more opportunities and dealership growth than ever before. We can't wait to see new and returning dealers, vendors, and innovators from across the country in Detroit next year. Now let's take a quick look at the platform we're going to be using today. The On24 console that you're looking at right now can be completely customized. You can move and resize windows, making the video or slides larger or smaller, as is your want. You'll find an array of interactive tools in this experience. In the toolbar, you will see a media player button for your video and volume, a Q&A box. This is the widget where you can submit your questions, located at the top right of your screen, and we will get to as many of those as we can at the end of this presentation. A resource list that you can click through to download the slides and related resources provided by our friends at NetSol. Perhaps most important is the survey icon, where you can click to share your feedback at any point during the session. Your input is extremely important to us, and before logging off today, please take a moment to share your thoughts to help us improve our future events. If you have any follow-up questions or need help with your experience, just enter a question in the Q&A box or press the help icon to get further guidance. Before we kick off the conversation, I just want to share a little bit about our speakers, Adam Bruttell and Eva Kellershof. Adam serves as the National Sales Director for the Americas at NetSol Technologies, a global leader in digital retail and finance solutions for the automotive industry. With more than 20 years of experience in automotive, fintech, and connected technology, Adam has helped OEMs, lenders, and dealer groups modernize their retail operations and deliver exceptional customer experiences. He's passionate about using innovation and process-driven strategies to help partners scale efficiently and profitably in today's evolving market. Eva, Vice President of Sales, North America and Europe for NetSol, is a passionate leader and creative connector of people who works at the intersection of technology, finance, and mobility as she divides her time between the US and Europe. With that, I hand it over to Adam and Eva.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can see me. Thank you so much, James, for the wonderful kind words and introductions. So Adam and I, we are here together. And let me start out with telling you a little bit about our company. So NetSol has been proudly serving the world's leading auto brands since 1995. So we're in that space for close to 30 years now. And you can see from the brand, it's really all over. We're present in every region and around the world, as long as, for whether it's APAC, Europe, the US, and everywhere else. And we are serving today over 200 and plus clients. 10,000 plus dealerships are connected to us, and 2 million of customers are actually interacting with our software every single day. So this is amazing, probably given that we have heard, or some of you probably might not have heard about us. The reason being, we are in the space where we serve multiple entities across the board. So one is we provide originations, servicing, and servicing solutions for wholesale and retail in the finance world. So that might be captives, that might be financial institutions, banks, etc. And then on the other hand, we have a large platform around digital retail for digital retailing and mobility solutions. And that's what we're going to focus on today. There is also a marketplace that we serve with the modules that make up our platforms that provide lots of flexibility to our users, again, around the world. And then we also have AI labs, and that's also part of why we are discussing the topic of digital retail in connection with AI labs today, because a lot of work is going into that, and that's why we call ourselves also an AI-powered company. Let's move forward with the first poll of the day. What is your top priority this year? We have 5 options, starting out with improving the online to showroom experience for customers, B, incorporating AI in processes, lead gen or communications, C, increase the F&I adoption with AI recommendations, and D, improve inventory planning and availability, or E, something else. In the meantime, hi, Adam. Hello, colleague.
Hello, hello. I'm looking forward to seeing the answers.
Exactly. So, all right. I think that is, oops. That is, I think we're serving exactly the audience that we need to see today. What is going on? Are you also seeing that? Why is sorry, my slides are moving back and forth. Are you seeing the poll results? Yep. Okay, cool. I'm not clicking anything. Sorry about that. All right, let me just summarize. We're improving the online to showroom experience for customers. I think that is exactly the key point. That is the core of our presentation today and our webinar today. And obviously, how do we best incorporate AI in these processes for lead generation and communication? All right, let's start out with, I'm sorry, I'm not doing anything. I don't even touch anything. Yes, thank you. There is a new record in town, and the record is probably very depressing for customers. So in the US, the average new car price now has crossed $50,000 for the first time ever. In terms of monthly payments, and we all know that customers are usually price shoppers, but they're payment buyers. It's even more important because close to 20% of new vehicle payments are now exceeding $1,000 per month. So the incentives at the same time have risen too, now accounting for more than 7% of the transaction, and that's exactly the highest level in years. Now, what that means in turn is that affordability is really being tested here, and buyers are more deliberate about their decisions. Now, for dealers, what does that translate to? It translates to longer decision cycles. It also translates to higher expectations because, this is a very valuable asset, and it should be well thought through, thought out, and prepared. That's why we know that customers spend close to 20 hours online during their selection and shopping process. So today, and that's, I think, the goal here, I want to talk about more than just technology. I want to talk about the trust, the frustration, and ultimately also the soul of that modern retail experience. So for us, digital transformation is just not an IT topic in itself or an IT project. It's really an emotional commitment to our customers. We know that the customers see no difference between the digital storefront and the physical door. It's a single journey. And we must stop thinking in channels and start delivering in moments of life. Because the gap, the retail reality gap, that's what we call it, the gap between what we offer and what they expect is costing us all not just money, but also credibility. So if you just think about that one thing, when last time you bought a flight, you don't care if it's on the app, on the website, or at the check-in desk, that they're all different channels. You only care about getting your seat, and that's how customers view us today. So what am I going to talk about? The customer voice. Let's hear it from them. I think one of the key elements that we keep hearing all the time from them is, I use many, I expect one. What does that mean? 73% of customers tell us they use many different multiple channels, but they expect one, meaning 76% of customers expect a consistent interaction. So we have to combine the two into one single experience. So as I said before, the customers really don't see digital versus physical. They only see the brand. And you have to imagine yourself what the customer looks like. He walks around and he's basically in a cloud of data. He is the cloud of data. And he expects us to know their history, their preferences, their context, and all of that follows them instantly. And they have that expectation for such a valuable asset as a car that you also understand them. We know from our research and studies that omnichannel shoppers, those that use, the online method, video channels, and other channels also to educate themselves, deliver usually a 30% higher lifetime value than a single channel customers. Seamlessness is not just a feature; it's a revenue driver. All right. Let me go through 3 expectations. 1, the first expectation by the customer is hyper-personalization without the creep. That means 71% of customers expect personalized experiences. And what's the one thing that they don't want is, after having invested hours, maybe spending on your website, somewhere in the digital context, that you should actually be aware of. And then they walk into your dealership and the first question they're getting is, what can I help you today with? And that's exactly the disappointment. Like, you should know me. I spend so much time here. I want to be understood. So we have to distinguish at the same time. It should not be hysteria. It should really be focusing. You should be focusing on the history of the customer. You want to come across like a silent and a helpful partner, and you want to help them anticipate their needs and proactively support them. So that means if someone has calculated a financing option online, the pre-approved financing needs to be ready before they even set foot in your establishment. It's the magic when the configured vehicle seems to have been waiting just for them. That is appreciation at the highest level. Now, where do you think we might find that? And I think that's a very important question. And that leads me to the expectation number 2. The expectation number 2 is the death of the hard stop. So we must declare the death of the hard stop. That is the moment we drive the customer into insanity. They just spend so much time, and then all of a sudden they're welcome with a word form, and they should enter their first name, last name, and email or phone number, and then we'll call you back. That is nothing that compares to in the internet world of today. That is simply unacceptable. At that point, the sale is in danger. So 8 out of 10 expect seamlessness, but over half feel like they are talking to separate entities when they are in between an online or a showroom channel. Now, the emotional tragedy behind that is really our data silos. So the CRM, there is the inventory system or the credit platform, and they all fight with each other, and the customer feels the pain. So remember, 1 in 3 customers will abandon a beloved brand after just a single bad interaction. This is really an emotional exodus that we must stop. The third one that I'm coming to is transparency and trust as a baseline. Now, trust, as we all know today, is no longer something you have to earn. It's basically the entry ticket to any type of conversation. Now the system is going crazy again. Okay, I really apologize about that. I don't know what happened. We were at expectation number 3. So this is not about technology. This is really all about character. So the expectation is transparency in pricing, which fees, which additional costs in the entire transaction are involved. What is the data handling looking like? What are the ethical practices look like? So our gap is really that black box effect, the lack of clarity in credit decisions or the contract terms. All these destroy trust in seconds. The solution is a unified, auditable digital thread. And that turns us from a seller into a reliable partner. So the new customer just doesn't want the lowest price. They want to know how that price was calculated. When they see every fee, every condition clearly laid out, that's true transparency, and it doesn't create a customer, it creates an advocate. So let me just finalize before I hand over to my colleague, Adam. We really talk about the great disconnect, the great digital retailing gap, retail reality gap between the customers, where 75% of them expect a seamless, smooth purchase process, yet only 25% feel that retailers are meeting this expectation. Now, let me share some ideas around this whole idea on how to create context continuity. So in our platform, for instance, before a customer even hits the lead gate, and you can always determine where you want that lead gate, early on, or just let them go through the various steps. Even before that, we're collecting all of the data that the customer is leaving in their current internet journey. So at the point where he's actually hitting that lead gate, we can summarize through AI all of the steps that he has taken so far, where he paused, where he left off, where he continued, what he put into his shopping cart, when he went back a couple of steps to review something. And all of that context is now for you, a whole world of information that the customer will appreciate, that you can help him, find the right car for him. So now is the time really to tear down the walls and establish the actual connection between those silos that you've been fed information with. So the anecdote here really is, if 75% of your customers expect an elevator to go from floor number 1 to floor number 5 smoothly, but 50% of them have to stop at every floor, change elevators, and then rescan their badge, you really don't have a transportation system, you have an obstacle course. And that is the reality gap. Adam, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Eva. It's great kind of learning what's happening with the consumer. Now I'm going to go over some dealer challenges. So 56% of the leads come in after hours, but only 37 receive a timely response. So it's very important that you have online tools that alert your managers, alert your sales staff when those leads come in. 83% of your buyers want upfront pricing and are 40% more likely to buy when pricing is transparent. So that's big, right? So if I'm, shopping for vehicles, I want to make sure when I go into the showroom and when you're desking a deal that information is matching. For example, discounts and pricing and specials. Manual work and disconnected systems slow teams down. Dealers are tired with ADD. I was just learning that term at a conference 3 weeks ago. Another damn dashboard, right? So they want fewer systems. They don't want more. Dealers want quality leads, not tire kickers. And when a real buyer raises their hand, the sales team needs immediate alerts so they can jump on it. The stores that win are the ones that get to the right leads fast, right? So when you're looking at different vendors, you don't want them to enter Mickey Mouse in there, right? So you want to be able to, validate that these leads are good. But at the same time, you don't want to make it so restrictive that it's so laborious for the consumer that they're having to enter so much information and they quit and they just get off. So, right. So you just need a healthy balance of that. More dealer challenges, rising costs, including SG&A, are pressuring margins, right? So, the front end gross and the back end grosses are getting, more and more tough right now. Disconnected workflows, slow financing, service, and follow-up. Technology overload is creating friction for teams and customers. The stores that win simply simplify their tech stack and tighten their process. So what I mean by that, some stores hesitate to invest during uncertainty. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? We have, high interest rates, taxes on imports, tariffs. So the strongest operators lean in a time like this. When you invest in the right online technology during a soft economy, you come out like a rocket ship when things rebound. So I would say good companies tighten up in downturns, but great companies accelerate. So I think right now is a great time to embrace technology and AI to surpass your competition. So maybe they're a little tight right now, but you're leaning in to surpass them. Next, the dealer playbook, right? So what's best in class? So true omnichannel sales that transition seamless from online to in-store. AI-enabled lead management to ensure that fast, consistent follow-up. Clear operational visibility into response times, bottlenecks, and workflows. Loyalty through proactive outreach at key ownership moments. Inventory optimization that cuts 20 to 50% off days on lot and improves margin by 1 to 2%. Network scale rollout starting with lighthouse stores. So that's kind of like your flagship or your A/B testing. So AI only performs as well as the data you feed it. That's why A/B testing and validations matter, garbage in, garbage out. But when dealers feed AI good data continuously, it becomes a real performance driver. So I think everybody's kind of struggling with that right now. Everybody wants to do AI, but not everybody really understands it. A key thing that's happening right now is the CDPs, right? People are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on that because they're frustrated. You have the data, but you can't get the information out of your CRMs or DMSs, right? And so, but I think before you invest all that money, you need to make sure that your data is correct. This is a prime example of AI and technology. Sometimes
you have some ghost
little,
AI, jumping around on our slides, right?
But you have to be quick and
idea.
nimble through it, right? And adjust to it. So I'm not quite ready to say thank you, but all right. So moving on, guys. So as you can see, the shift to online in 2030s is accelerating, right? It's going to be 20 to 30 to 40% more in 2030, right? So customers are completing key steps online. Dealers expect digital buying behaviors to accelerate. Stores that prepare now, kind of what I talked about, right, will be ahead when the shift hits full momentum, and it's going to come. So I said everyone is living on their phones. Your digital tools must look good, load fast, function perfectly on mobile, or you'll lose the customer before they ever walk in, right? So there's a lot of ADD out there, right? We're an instant gratification society, right? We want things quick, and we get frustrated if they don't look right and we don't get that information. We're just going to move on. So it's very important that you choose UI that's simple, that you and your customers can understand. and that it looks very clean on the front end and when they come in, like I said earlier, on the back end. All right, so AI and dealer success. AI is impacting every department from sales, service, BDC, and F&I. Predictive service and personalized F&I recommendations boost your gross. 80% of customer interactions are expected to be AI supported by 2025. AI increases speed, consistency, engagement across the dealership. So, just like I was with a bunch of thought leaders in Florida, and, I think consensus was, AI isn't replacing people, it's empowering them. It gives your team better insights and frees them up to make stronger decisions. Think of it as your assistant that never takes days off, right? So I think at the end of the day, you want to spend time with your customer. You want AI to give you that information about, can they afford, wheels and tires, right? Should they get gap, and so AI is really going to prepare you that they get that kind of red carpet treatment when they come into the store, right? You'll know everything about them. And so you'll be able to really concentrate on that relationship instead of digging the data and making guesses. All right, the younger generation. I feel like I've been saying millennial for like 30 years. I think millennials are like 40 years old. So, right, which is funny, right? But we always kind of refer Gen Z millennials. I don't even know what the teenagers are called now, but younger buyers demand transparency, speed.
Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha. There we go. There we go. And digital convenience. They judge experience more than the vehicle itself. And I think we've been going through this even with the connected vehicles, right? It's a vehicle, it's an iPhone on wheels, right? And meeting them where they are determines who wins the future in market share. Just like your kids, I had a funny story about my nieces. My nieces think Alexa is their personal friend. They talk to Alexa, they ask Alexa questions. And so I think when you're looking at the future, just watch what your kids and your teenagers are doing, right? Teenagers, you're calling them, what happens? They don't answer the phone, but you send them a text and then they answer you. Or you're going to a Chili's or Applebee's and they're all at a table online talking to each other and they're sitting right next to each other, right? So even if we think these things are odd, this is the future, right? They have ADD. They're ordering online. They want instant gratification. And this is where the buying experience is going. And I just, think, observe your children. They're doing those things. And then why it matters to you. Digital and AI lifts sales per employee. It's faster deal cycles and reduced friction. It's personalized F&I boost per unit profitability. Better post-sale engagement and increases loyalty, right? So, I think this business is built on relationships, guys, right? The auto business. Technology should free your people to spend more time building trust, not wrestling with paperwork and bouncing between systems. So, right now, I think, you really want a partner, that has a good online experience, that has simple buttons, that flows into your showroom, that flows into the desking, right? We talked about, you don't want another damn dashboard, right? And so right now, there is no true end-to-end solution, but you want a partner that's going to get you there, that's doing the right things with AI, and someone that can grow with your dealership. So when you're looking for a partner. So I will hand it over to James with some, if you guys have any questions.
Thanks. That was, first of all, sorry, you guys really handled it well. All the little gremlins that were all over the internet today, I think they got to us. It was a really informative session as we all get set for 2026. A couple of things that really stood out for me was how customers do not see a difference anymore between digital and physical interactions. And any friction that happens can really disrupt the sale. Like they want that frictionless experience, no matter where they are. The stat that exemplified that was like 54% of leads come in during off hours, but only 40% are followed up on. Like that gap, like really has to be back in how it fits into their everyday experience. And I think next year, I think that's like those pilot programs will start going more widespread, and everybody's going to kind of figure it out. We had some questions come in from our attendees while you guys were talking. Are you guys ready to jump in?
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'll start with this one. How do you prevent tire kickers and provide qualified leads?
Adam?
Thanks, James. I'll take that one. I think it's important that you have a healthy balance, right? And so, with NetSol, with Transcend Retail, we validate if that person is a real person, right? So we validate their information, which is very important. So you're not going to get these, Mickey Mouse leads. You're going to get accurate contact information. But also on the opposite, you don't want to make it so restrictive that you have low lead volume, right? So it's tricky, but you want that balance, right? Of, hey, let's make sure that we get their contact information, but if they didn't enter 10 things, and I still want to get the lead, right? And so I feel that we've as we've researched that, talked to our dealers, we have a healthy balance of leads, but they're quality leads.
Yeah, let me add to that. So on the one hand, so first of all, leads, I think in the minds of many dealers are still coming through because you have that word form where you enter all that stuff, right? In our solution, you just create your account, and in that account, you just flow easily. You keep continuing in that customer journey, so you don't even leave it at any point. You don't get to that hard stop where you're lost and you just have to wait for somebody to answer to you. Secondly, as I was explaining before, our technical tools allow you to actually reach out to a customer who is currently still in the journey without even having revealed their identity. So they're doing stuff online. Our platform notices, look, there is this customer A, and what you can do is, as a gentle, support offering representative, you can just send them a text and say, hello, hi, I'm out there. I see you're going through the trade-in sequence. If you need any help, I'm here, just give me a shout out. And so people don't feel they're interrupted or something like that, but they just continue to just go on their journey. And then secondly, I think you'd also mentioned the many customers that send through their leads after hours. That's also a big item for AI, where technically you can, summarize all of the leads that came in. You can just chronologically work through them one by one. Also give them the possibility to actually follow up before people have started their day, their actual day. So it's, early hours leads without having to cover the full night shift. So, and all of that is helped through, also email responders, these kinds of helpers that kind of are not exactly the human person on the other hand, but help you to bridge that gap between when the customer is leaving the tool and you are getting online again.
To that kind of flows into our next question. If a customer starts online, building price or pre-qualification, what actually happens with that context when they show up at the dealership?
Yeah, that's super important because that's exactly what is being prepared for you when you as a dealer representative are engaging with the customer. So the customer, when they come to the dealership, they notify with giving their name. You can instantly see inside of our customer platform where they left off, what type of information they provided, how they filled their shopping cart, if they provided a trade-in, if they have started, looking into maybe gap insurance or some other maintenance package and whatnot. And of course, what's super important is that all of the information that was transparent to them is now continuing to be very transparent, because obviously, you have a penny perfect payment offering and all that stuff. And that is, again, being visible. So you're not going to get the same question asked again once you step into the brick and mortar store. Adam?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Eva. And also, too, you can go back and forth with the lender, right? So if the deal is rejected, you can, go where you left off. We also have a co-browsing feature that we've just rolled out, which is great. So you can be online with the customer going over the deal. So it's very, fluid. It just doesn't come off, cut off. You can go back and forth with the customer, and you can redo the deals.
Terry, and I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name because I'll mess it up, has a question. What is the recommended human response time to an internet lead once the chat box AI info has been disseminated?
Yeah, so what's good about our product is the leads, when they come in, they instantly go into the CRM, right? So we have integrations with all the providers out there, and so you will get those leads and into the CRM. So hopefully answer that question.
Yeah, and then depending how you're organizing it, I mean, we have customers who have call centers behind those CRMs to make sure that we have actually an instant response there. Or as I said previously, if you send out anything after hours, that you will get a message just before the customer is actually being back at work. So something, that's coming into his inbox before 8 a.m. is just I think the expected amount there. Absolutely.
All right, the next one. If a dealership is just starting out, what's the first step to reinventing their dealership strategy with AI without overwhelming the team?
Yeah, I think you should look at 3 factors in total. So one, get a platform that really matches the customer experience that you want, the operational fit, and also the technical capabilities. Now, what does that mean one by one? So from an operational integration, make sure you have a direct sync between the DMS, the CRM, and your platform. So everything that is happening in terms of deal structure, when you want to desk a deal, everything that is all the exact same thing across all platforms. And ideally, your platform just aggregates everything so you don't even have to leave a platform. Secondly, the calculation engine has to be correct so that all of the information from, taxes, fees, lender programs, whatever, is all being fed into that platform. And I think that's super interesting. Obviously you would expect also lender waterfall capabilities. So can the tool route the customers to the right lenders based on their credit tier? What we're doing now with AI is really understand, what to narrow down the number of lenders you actually want to send any customer to. So because customers really hate it when their credit when they have a hard credit pull. And so if you can say, based on that customer profile, you only want to send it to that particular lender, and you will get an acceptance and also a great rate. I think that is ultimately great customer satisfaction. Now, that was the operations part. The second part, the customer experience and user interface. Obviously, the user interface has to be super pretty. Because why am I saying that? Well, it is intuitive that everybody who is looking at something beautiful is going to be more engaging. And customer engagement is the number one driver of customers, moving further down the funnel where you actually want them, because further down the funnel is less work for you, is less, thought about like how qualified are these leads, are they really serious about about a transaction in the near future, hopefully. And then obviously, you want to have a balance between transparency and control. So does the tool allow you to be penny perfect on the one hand for the payments, but still allow the back-end customization of rate markups and accessory pricing? So we have, the the ideal tool, and I don't want to always say we, but the ideal tool should really allow you to go back and change pricing, rehash, renegotiate, rehash again and again before you actually settle to the deal. And then, of course, coming back to what we said earlier, it's really about the seamless on to offline transition. It has to be the exact same environment. Once you get into the store and people are pulling out a paper and a pen, and you've been on a screen the whole time, then all of a sudden the trust breaks down. And then the third one, I think that speaks really to the profitability of what dealers cherish most is the feature set and F&I integration. So you have to have an integrated trade-in valuation, like a Kelly Blue Book, JD Power, and whatnot. The F&I menu presentation has to be, again, contextualized. So based off of the location of the person, maybe you want to serve up the pothole insurance, these kinds of things that really enhance the customer experience, and also make sure that you only get soft credit pulls, hopefully, to get customers pre-qualified, so they don't have to put in all of their information from top to bottom. So maybe those three things. So I'm going to stop here.
It was a really good answer. A follow-up to that is, if a dealer is evaluating AI or omnichannel vendors, what are the top 3 questions they should be asked of those vendors?
I think one is obviously about the scalability of the platform. So we know that AI deployment really requires a certain architecture in that platform. Secondly, how coherent is the data? Are they secure? We see a lot of cybersecurity topics around, not only after last year's major issue with one of the large DMS providers, but we really have to be safely and securely treating customer data. I think that's a key element. So you need not just a web shop who is providing you with some software, but somebody who's really trained to work with big banks to really have that additional trust level. And then also I think the whole topic of training and onboarding comes to mind. If you just do it once and your dealer reps instantly get it because it's so obvious how you would go through your desking process, how you would walk customers through the entire journey top to bottom. I think those are additional elements other than the whole integration piece, of course. Yeah, it's all about forgetting about those silos. Adam?
I think too, the main objective of the dealer is to move more metal, right? So I think picking a vendor that is going to be at your location, right? So you have an account management team that trains your sales staff, not once, but many times, right? Is very important. And then, like I said, it's very important that you own the data and you pick vendors that allow you not to hijack your data, right? So, that's very important. And with AI just starting out, a company that you can grow with, that has a customizable, scalable product, right? That can grow with you, that sits down, that's consultative, that can move the widgets around with the digital and desking experience, can make sure it's the OEM colors, and that really represents your dealership, right? And so I feel like that's something that we really do good, is the consultative, the enterprise, and can really grow with your business as a partner.
You talked about ADD when you went down to another damn thing, right? And so this is sort of that question. For dealers, how can they introduce a digital retail tool without making it feel like it's one more thing for their employees?
Yeah, if I can take that, I think that is so essential. That's what we currently do with one of the OEMs that we're serving. But it's also the same, let's say it's the same process also with like a smaller dealer group, a very high-end dealer group in the south of the States. where they implemented the tool, and all of a sudden not only does their lead amount shoot up, but they see, oh my God, I have now an integrated system. Integrated system means exactly the removal of that ADD, meaning you aggregate multiple dashboards. There's not just an inventory system, not the DMS, not the CRM or something else, or your F&I managing tool. It's all coming together as one. So we eliminate the silos. We still feed those silos for the necessary functions that they serve, but for the dealer representative, they can now completely hone into that process. Just focus on sales, instead of switching screens from left to right. I think that is one of the key ideas, and in that position where we are, we can easily manage with DMS providers, with CRM providers. We're not considered a competitor in that sense. So they are opening up their black boxes, so to speak, to allow for these integrations to happen. And I think that's the beautiful result that you now benefit from.
All right, and we have time for one last question. This is for either of you. What KPIs should be tracked to know if AI and omnichannel efforts are actually working?
Adam?
Yeah, I would say, you want to make sure that ultimately, I think, you're selling more vehicles. That's the key, right? That you're getting really good leads that we talked about, right? And so I think speed to lead, right? Are you getting quality? Does your sales team have quick access to those leads that they're following up on? And does the online experience match the showroom experience? That's very important, right? So are your OEM incentives, are your rebates? If the customer changes the down payment, are you seeing that? So I think, our system does a really good job of the front end matching the back end, right? And then with the lenders, when that information is changing as well. So I think the main KPIs, are you getting these leads? Are you converting them? And is it easy to use?
Yeah, and plus, if I may add, back-end growth, probably one of the key metrics here. We see that whenever you allow a customer to move further down the funnel, they tend to put more into their shopping carts than if they have to defend their decision, vis-a-vis the dealer rep in the showroom. So it's another JD Power study that came out. So customers actually proceed through the online sales funnel at up to 13 to 18% more of F&I products in that, and that is pure profit for you. So that's just be considerate and give them the time they need.
I think that's a life lesson.
I'm glad that you added that, Eve. I think that's good. I think with more pressure on front end gross, with $1,000 payments, a lot of people are depending on the back end. So I think that's a good point that you made.
Yeah, and maybe one just last thing. I think we talk about a lot of technology, of AI, but really for the customer, the entire process has to be effortless, and it also has to be human. So with all of the AI in the game, we only enhance the dealer representative and the sales guys' ability to appear human to their customer. I think that's important.
Okay. This is great. We really appreciate your time. Do you have any other final thoughts you want to add?
Thanks, James. We would just love the opportunity. Obviously, there's much more. This was a pretty quick webinar, but you have both of our information. We'd love to schedule a demo and tell you a little bit more about what we do.
Yeah, and not wait until next digital dealer to see you. So thank you so much, James, for this opportunity. Really, I loved it a lot. Thank you so much.
And thank you for your time. You guys were great. We had the gremlins in, but you guys handled it really nicely. We thank everybody for their patience out there and our attendees for joining us today. It was a really informative session. Just a reminder, we ask for everyone to link on the survey icon to share your feedback on the session. Your input is extremely important to us. So before logging off today, please take a moment to share your thoughts to help us improve our future events. We encourage you to sign up for our next webinar on December 2nd, titled A Conversation with Bob Calabrese, Driving Dealership Challenges into Opportunities, sponsored by our friends from GoToConnect. If you joined us late or there was a section you took notes on but can't read your own handwriting, I raised my hand on that one. You are in luck. We'll have this session from NetSol ready for on-demand viewing very shortly. You'll find an email in your e-box when it is ready to go. That's it for today. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. Take care. See you soon.
Thank you.